their ability to receive money.
Right.
Because the point is that unless you are emotion management balanced,
Right.
how would you know what money balance is?
You would.
Right?
Right.
So tell us a little bit about your story, because it's really interesting that you, my dear friend, you are an educator.
Yes.
So, and that's how you started. Well, before educating, you were playing football.
Yeah. Yeah. I was a college football official for about 15 years. Yes.
Isn't it something?
Loved it. Yeah.
And you
American
love, right?
football.
And you love American
Love it.
football.
Love American football. I travel. I still travel and watch it and see it. I have friends who are out officiating. See
Yeah.
them on TV.
And what is your favorite team? Excuse me.
Favorite team? We love those Steelers.
Those
Here
Steelers.
we go.
Yes, yes. And football is very much a game of mind.
Yes.
You and I have analyzed that in so many
Yeah.
ways,
Yeah.
and we have found out the statistic and the strategy of this game
Mhm.
has everything to do with the mindset.
Correct.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like everything else.
Not everything.
Yes. So once you were with football, what happens that you said, you know what, I'm going to be a teacher?
Well, I've always been a teacher, and before I was a football official, I was a teacher. So that's kind of come natural to me.
You are a natural teacher. I can
Yeah,
see that
yeah,
in
yeah.
everything in you.
Yeah. So yeah.
That is awesome.
Mhm.
When did you start teaching?
Started teaching
Right out of college?
I was even in college at the time. I didn't realize I was going to be an educator then, but I gravitated toward it as a summer job as my sophomore year. Yeah, my sophomore year going into my junior year of college. So,
Amazing,
yeah.
amazing. And the interesting part of this is that there is a very cool university that you're going to give a shout to. What is it?
Yeah, LaSalle University.
LaSalle. Woohoo,
That's been on the water
LaSalle.
2 times, right?
Isn't it something?
Yes.
And so LaSalle, right here in
Philadelphia.
Philly.
Mhm.
And there's a lot of LaSalle actually listening to us.
Yeah.
So we're
Yeah.
going to give
Yes.
little hearts to you, you know. And so through your studies,
Mhm.
you actually started to think about also being a principal,
Yes.
doing studies with that.
Yes.
Yes?
I did.
And so tell me, what was the certifications that you went through?
Well, the certifications were I have curriculum and development certification, and I'm certified to be a principal from kindergarten through high school. So I get those certifications.
Wow.
I think it came natural because I like to run things, run the show. So it makes sense I'd want to run a school or I run my classroom. Right?
And interesting enough, here comes Fatima inviting you to come to the school, emotion management school.
Correct.
So when we were in the networking of Philadelphia, you and I have been going to so many business networks.
Yes.
And that was back at Chima, back at all those,
10 years ago?
probably more than that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Correct.
And we crossed paths so many times.
Yeah, we did. Yes,
we talked
did.
about growing our business, introducing other people.
Mhm.
And we never thought that you and I would be collaborating right here, right now.
Yeah.
It never, ever crossed
Not
my
this
mind.
way.
Not this way, no. And interesting that here we are. When I started becoming a coach, a master coach in emotion management and transformational coaching,
Correct.
I pitched it to you.
Yes.
And you said, I want that.
Yes, you did.
I want to know that.
Yes.
I want to. And so when I explained that to you, what was your immediately, thought?
It seemed like it's natural to you. Yeah, like that would be something you share.
And what,
naturally.
what made you like, oh, I want to put all my effort in this, which you did?
Your effort or my
Your effort.
My effort. Oh, well, that's a broad question, so I'll be simple. It started out as a business focus. And when we realized that you have to take care of your own home, both financially and emotionally, before you can be a leader anywhere else. It starts with you at home. And so I ended up, bringing to the family, and then it.
Very true. And we're going to talk about the naked truth here today.
That was it.
Yeah. Because the fact is that unless you take care of your own ghosts.
Correct.
Unless you clean your own mistakes, unless you clean our house in here,
correct,
there's no way of going in up there.
You're correct.
right? And I see your face. It's like you're laughing because that is
It was kind of like I thought I had everything figured out, and I didn't. So we find
and
out.
it was interesting because as you progressed into the coaching, into the training, into you started expanding your mind and knowing things that I don't think you ever thought to actually study that, right?
Right.
And how when was the time the passion for this work started seeding your heart and really when was that and why?
Right.
I mean, because I know, okay, but I want him to share.
Well, you know what? Let's be. I think to be honest with people, so we're showing people how to receive. We're
That's
learning
it.
right now, so it wasn't pretty, and it really wasn't pretty. And I think I tried to make it look pretty, and I think that was just
That was
glossing
not,
over
yeah,
all the things that needed to be cleaned up
yes,
emotionally, and
yes.
then to be able to take it to a business and actually just to teach in the classroom.
That's it. And here, the importance of being the author of your own life. Unless you take the time to actually write your own story,
Right.
there's no way you're going to have that life that you desire. And that means family, money, relationships in general, a new husband, a new boyfriend, a new wife, a new girlfriend. Either if you are an elder or if you are a young, if you are a teenager, a kid, it doesn't matter. You have to do the work.
So there was an activity you asked me to do.
Yes.
Is that really basically take an inventory.
I remember
We
that.
did it a couple times.
I
We did it,
remember that.
we did it with money, and just I'm going to list all that you own
Uh-huh.
because you're saying, "Oh, I want more." Well, if you're not receiving what you already have,
Correct.
it's hence the receiving we're talking
Yes.
about.
And we're going to talk about that a little further down.
Mhm.
I'm going to tell you how did I learn that I was well off in life. I did not know. I did not care. I was not paying attention because of the paradigms of the past. It was all blessings. I knew I was blessed and joyful and all that. But because of the paradigm of the past, which I was homeless, I didn't have a place to be, and food and people and orphan and all that. This is many years ago. We're talking about from my birth to 18 years old. Then I did not know how to receive, how to understand that what I had, what is enough, how to appreciate what I had, how to appreciate my own making. We're talking about my abundance. And we're going to talk about this a little farther down the road.
Right.
So, setting up, the what is emotion management? Emotion management is for you to be able to really filter your own being to be in this way of being able to understand that this now is okay
Mhm.
and also to filter others
Right.
way of being
Right.
because nowadays everybody's on their cell phone, everybody's
Right.
talking in their heads and very distracted in so many ways, and you could very much say they're not paying attention. You could get upset about it,
Right.
you could get turned off about it.
Mhm.
But here, that's the opportunity that you're having of actually parking
Right.
and saying that's okay
Right.
as long as I'm here for that
Right.
person.
Right. Well, as long as you're here for yourself,
There
and
you
you'll be
go. There you
for
go.
others. Correct.
Right. And one of the things that you worked on was that not to get upset
Right.
about just anything,
Correct.
which we called how to emotionally bagging,
Yeah,
right?
an emotional beggar. Right.
Like Augusto Cudi used to say, our mentor,
Right.
why are you begging
Right.
for the other's
Well, you
approval?
beg because you don't realize what you have. You don't receive what you have, whether it's
Yes.
emotional,
That's
in terms
it.
of your talent, whatever that.
You're not
may-
accepting, you're not receiving that,
Correct.
right?
Correct.
And so obviously ego gets turned on
Mhm.
and you get upset and you want to control the other because now you want
That's a
right?
key. That's a key. If you find yourself wanting to control others, you know that you're not controlling yourself.
Yes, ego is the culprit of everything. we don't realize that ego is the culprit of everything.
Yeah.
How to turn that off? Can we ever?
No, we can't ever turn it off.
Okay, can we talk a little bit about that? So tell me in our experience, when do you make yourself aware?
Well, if
Are
you're
you
still a teenager,
You're
you
an expert on this. Okay, go.
Well, I have five girls in my life, plus my girlfriend Jane. We've been together for 11 years. So when you have being the only male in a female-dominated house, you see things. Especially being in my case, we don't use the term step, but I'm not their. I wasn't their biological, parent.
Uh-huh.
So that was another dynamic to, in addition to
Uh-huh.
working with. But everybody who's been either had a house for the teenagers or you were like a teacher in a classroom. So I was getting it twice. I get a room full of teenagers for
With
8
their
hours
own
a day,
emotions, with their own
everything,
ways.
exactly, and then come home and have my children. So yeah, you get confronted. I mean, that's
So many ways and
so-
tested too.
correct. Oh,
You get tested.
yes.
I think
yes.
kids have an unbelievable, fantastic way of testing the adults.
Yeah. Yes. Jane
Right?
keeps saying this to me. It's like you're on a roller coaster, or they're on a roller coaster, and they're testing to see if
Of
that
course.
bar is going to work.
Uh-huh.
And it sounds great in this conversation, but it's messy. It's a little
Uh-huh.
it can be a little ugly. It's not always
Uh-huh.
pretty. But being able to talk about that,
That's the
laugh
most
about
important
it,
thing.
and
I have a family member, someone, Cassia and Moises, they have three teenagers. Two are almost 18, 17-year-old teenagers, twins, and one little one that is about to be 15. And I stay with them every time I go to Brazil. And hello to all of you there. And interesting enough, when we all together, everyone has their own personalities going on, and there's no fights.
yeah,
But when they are together,
right.
they are challenging each other, and then they fight. It's interesting.
It's like
And
Thanksgiving dinner every day.
there you go. And so I don't like this. I don't want this. Mom, are you going to do that? Well, this, ask your dad, ask your mom, and la. So what is the best way to deal with that? That is what I call a very nice dinner table of egos.
Yep. And so
Personality.
cleaning up your own house, your emotional house, which is what we've been doing, is how I mean that's it would be great if you would be proactive, but usually many times we're maybe in somewhat of a crisis or on a downswing, or
Very
we
true.
get forced to do. We kind of say, all right, I'm gonna do some work.
Yes.
So
yes.
that's
And so to know, just the fact of getting to know who you are, just pausing and to realizing who you are, that's enough for one to start in their emotion management,
correct.
right? Just right there in stillness.
Well, yeah. I don't know. So everybody, it hits everybody a different way. Like
Mhm.
I think I just had a natural curiosity for things,
Uh-huh.
but it doesn't have to. It takes many shapes and forms, but in the end, you're like, there's got to be another way,
Right?
right? There's got to be another way. When things start going, well, this isn't working. Well, what can we do?
What can we do?
Yeah.
Be flexible, be
Right.
open, be actually curious
Right.
to know what else, right?
Correct. Now, see, I'm a teacher, but I don't know that you necessarily have to be a teacher. I'm just naturally curious. I think people do this outside the classroom, but my profession lends itself to this too. If you don't mind me
No,
sharing.
no, please, I would
I
love
mean,
to, right?
Yeah. Okay. We're in business, and this is how I'm like. All right. I'm gonna. How do I take care of myself to be a business person? But really, how do I take care of myself to be with myself?
Uh-huh.
So
Otherwise, you can't
Yeah.
deal with your business.
See, right. And I'm going to talk a little esoteric or spiritual, if you want to
Uh-huh.
call it that.
Mystic or whatever you want
Whatever you want to call it. There's many ways
Yeah.
of saying it, but I hired a media person, someone to design a website. That person, him and I were just sharing and talking. And he says, you have to read this book. And I'm like, really? He says, yeah, there's this book called Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself. Now, I had zero.
Dr. Joe Dispenza.
Exactly. I had
Yes.
zero intention of going that direction. I was, hey, make me a website, right? But that was actually serendipitously. We had done work before.
We done, yes.
I had some emotional baggage to deal with, and I was just in the right spot. And I started reading the book, and that's when I called you back up to go back to do
You
the
go
work.
back to do the work, yes.
And then,
And that is the way, because if you're not willing to do the work, then you're not willing to receive.
right,
Because the whole point is to be willing to do the work. Because
right,
once you start doing the work, for sure,
right,
the results are going to come in.
right,
And I always say, miracle, it's now.
correct,
It's right now.
right,
Like this is a miracle.
yes,
It's a miracle to have you with us. It's a
correct,
miracle that you're here listening to us. It's a miracle that Anthony is here sharing his story and we're sharing. We do this every Friday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time
correct,
because we have friends all over the world. So we do bilingual, Portuguese and English. So today is in English.
correct.
And so next week will be in Portuguese. Now, and so it's interesting because we, everyone talks about money. Money is a subject that I think is talked all over the
Sure.
place.
Yeah.
But the point is, everybody that doesn't have money talks about that they don't have money.
When if they look at it,
Right?
they
If they,
probably
yes, and if they
They
look
could.
at it, and that's what we're going to talk about it now.
Right.
Because if they look with a mind that is transformative, a mind that's willing
Mhm.
to see many ways,
Correct,
they will see that they do have money.
correct.
Because as soon as they start looking into opportunities
Mhm.
in their own household, in their
Correct.
own wallet,
Correct,
but then they're going to see what else can I do with this?
right,
And
correct.
how can I play?
And it builds momentum.
Yes, once they see they want to do, they want to do. And so, talk a little bit about that because you have been passionate about this for many years,
Correct.
and I've been following you, train yourself, certifying yourself, getting all this knowledge,
Mhm.
and wanting to convey to people that they too can have a lot of money.
Correct. Correct. And yes, and it starts by recognizing again, it sounds simple, but it starts with recognizing what you have. And we
It is
all
really
have
true.
something
Some money.
somewhere,
Uh-huh.
and I don't care. And I've worked with people. Some people who have like millions say they don't have money, and people
It
who
is something.
say that you think I have 30,000, I have $100 in the bank or 1,000, whatever it is. People always say they don't have it, but yet
They do.
you meet very few people that don't
Very
actually
true.
have something.
Very true.
Yeah, right. So
Very true. Well, you and I were talking about this mutual fund.
Mhm.
I knew nothing about mutual funds. Okay, I have heard about it, and I mean, and I'm thinking to myself, how would I ever make investments? I knew nothing about it, and so since I know Anthony and I have known him for a while, I said, Anthony, why don't you come in? Let's do an assessment
correct,
of what I have.
correct.
Now, John and I sat with you.
Mhm.
How do you call this?
We call it, okay, I'll use the technical term, I'll just simplify it. It's called a financial needs analysis,
Analysis. Okay.
right? That means we look at where you are. So a snapshot of where you are right now and
And where do you
where
want to
you'd like
go?
to go.
Yes.
So what do you have? How much you have coming in? How much you have going out? And then, hey, at some point, we'd like to have a certain amount of money where we can live off of.
There you go. And it could be for any purpose.
Correct.
So I had no purpose where I wanted because I thought I don't have it, right? So Anthony sits with us and he does what he calls FNA,
Correct.
financial
Need
needs analysis.
Look
Okay.
at it as building a financial house. We'll make it a financial house. Where do you start? Where do you, if you, even
Yeah,
if
you need to
you
check
start at
the,
your foundation.
yeah.
And that's what the foundation, what we say is your income protection.
Yes.
Because your income is what allows you to build a house
To build.
again, right?
Yes.
So we start and we build it in order. And
Yeah.
in order.
So he came in and John and I sat with Anthony and he was doing our FNA, asking questions, going through the questionnaire and asking questions about what is the asset, what bank accounts we have,
Debt to you
with
have.
the debt, also the debt that we had. And once he finished, okay, he looked at us and said, "What do you think?" Right? You asked him. He asked me, "What do you think? Where do you think you are?"
Mhm.
And I said, "I look at John. Don't look at me." And we said, "Nowhere." And so Anthony came to us and realized that. Do you realize you're very well off? Do you realize you have this much money? Do you realize all these assets are, when you liquefy, you are this much? And I was like, "What?
Mhm.
I can't believe it is." And John was the most.
Yeah. He's the
Can
most.
you can you please
Yeah.
explain what his reaction?
Yeah, John. Well, John's a very left-brained,
Yeah, he's a
logic,
reason player, a logic guy.
but he was cutting off his abundance.
Yes.
And I guess what happened, he said to you after I left, is I think the words were Anthony brought abundance to the house.
That's it.
I think,
Because he was not aware.
but then he saw when he listed it.
He says, really?
Wow.
Because the abundance he thought it was abundance was only money that people gave to you,
Or somebody gave it to-
inheritance,
Right.
or cash to this. But
Right.
he was not really counting on are his assets.
Right.
He was living on the past
Mhm.
because he didn't know any better.
Right.
But once you open his mind to that, we start growing and investing and figuring out all the ways. And so, what I wanted to share with you is that I asked Anthony one day to come in again and to talk to us or talk to me regarding mutual funds. And boy, was I surprised. So, Anthony is going to share why I was surprised. Because if you're not investing, it just means that you don't want to do it. Because if you did want to do it, there is mutual funds as low as $50 a month.
Correct.
And if you're not doing, it just means you don't want to do it. Because you're telling me that you don't spend $50 in coffees throughout the week and throughout the month, makeup, and
People are spending $100 right now just
cigarettes,
on alcohol. Right?
alcohol,
couple
and those
hamburgers.
things, yeah, and this is joyful, fine,
Yes.
but they don't come back. But you're telling me that you don't have $50 for you to put together for the rest of your kids' life so they can have how much? Over $1 million.
Yeah, over $1 million.
Okay.
Start putting money away now.
So depending on the age of the kids. So Anthony is going to talk a little bit about that. So go ahead, Anthony. Tell us about the Franklin
Franklin
mutual.
Fund.
Yeah.
Well, let's
And you can back up a little bit.
Yeah, fact about understands the one that she's involved with. We're not selling mutual funds here.
We're not selling to anyone, but we're talking about everything.
Right. So
I
any
bought
mutual
one.
fund.
Yes.
Right.
One can buy any mutual fund, and I bought one that was $50. And guess what? I already put some money
It's
aside.
more than $50, right?
Right.
You don't mind me.
Way much more.
Right.
So talk about mutual funds in general,
In general.
and also the programs, because you have 401k, you have other types of investments.
Right. So just to break it down simply, a mutual fund, think of it as like a shopping mall. Here in the Philadelphia area, we have like the King of Prussia Mall. There to think of each business that's in the King of Prussia Mall as a stock. So if one business leaves the King of Prussia Mall, does the mall go under? No, it keeps somebody else fills that spot. So as I'm owning a mutual fund, you pool your money, right? Like small investors like us, we pool our money, we give it to professional money managers who spread it out over a bunch of different companies. Think of it like as it being in the shopping mall, right? Think about the car you drive, the phone that you have in your hand, where you go to see movies. You can invest in those types of companies. Right?
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
So that's what a mutual fund is a mutual fund. So you can own little pieces of stock in different companies. You don't have to have let's say like $1,000 to buy Google. You could own a fraction of it just for, by putting in something as little as $50 a month into.
And it's something, and people
know.
don't realize they can own part of that company.
Correct. All the companies you think of, you can own them.
fractions of it
through a mutual fund. A great.
They grow, you grow.
Right. It's kind of like if you've ever heard of Sir John Templeton, he brought Wall Street to the masses, and that was his mission. So it's kind of like we're bringing emotion management to the masses.
That's it.
So that company
That's the
that I'm
way.
fond of, that was how they were founded.
And that is perhaps the most abundant way of growing your assets.
Right.
Because you have a little here, a little there, a little here, a little
You
there.
put all your eggs in one basket. No,
I guess
you spread
not.
them out.
I guess
And that's what a mutual fund allows us to do.
Correct. And I know you have told me that you offer FNA to people,
Yeah,
and you
correct.
have a website where people can actually send you an email and subscribe to be able to have that.
Correct.
So Anthony is going to give us his website where you can subscribe to his FNA, where you can meet one-on-one and find out if investing is for you. I'm sure it is if you want to be an abundant person.
Correct.
You know, where's that?
That is it's timetmoney.net.
See, he gives us money.
Right.
How awesome is that? So TIMET money.net.
Correct.
Well, that's amazing that you have that website, right?
Correct. So yeah.
Yeah, and we all beginning all this connections, all this work. We are sharing abundance with people. Me, even though I've been over 10 years as a coach, we just now starting YouTube.
Yes.
And this is brand new for me as well, to be able to share so much with people. I never realized that I would be able to share books and tips and realizations and eventualities. Like, I don't know, I ate a burger today. That's nothing exciting, but that's people from another country. They don't know who that is. They wanted the experience in America.
Right. Well, yeah. Right.
They wanted to
try
be
out what's going on
excited.
overseas.
They want to be excited about what you're doing.
Right.
So this giving us this opportunity to be here in YouTube and sharing our knowledge, sharing our experiences. Anthony is an educator, as a sportist, as a man that loves Steelers, as a man that has a family, travels all over. You just hiked in.
We're in the Rockies.
In the Rockies.
Yeah, we're in
Wow.
Colorado. It was beautiful.
Wow, that's beautiful. So we and me, being able to travel the world, being in Brazil and Greece, so all my three homes, here, Brazil and Greece, and sharing with you what we have learned. I mean, it would be a shame for us to go back home,
right,
and not share all this.
Right.
It would be so sad.
Well,
not be able to share. It's
right. Well,
so important.
I think when you're teaching, like everybody has something to share. Their
story or
metal workers, no matter what you're on,
no matter what you do.
No matter what you do, there's always something there to share and to serve, and
very true.
And it just makes you better at whatever you do.
Yeah, it's important that we are able to share with others our experiences. And you have been teaching your kids how to be, emotionally intelligent.
Yes.
And can you tell us some cute little stories? Obviously, we cannot mention names, but it's really incredible what you do, because you've been doing this for 20 years.
Right.
And now with this emotion management tools, you've been able to expand your teachings and to see that harvesting.
Right.
To be able to see how they think, how they are creating something out of nothing.
Correct.
Could you share with us a little bit?
Sure. I laugh because, like I said, it hasn't been pretty. It's not. I don't want to paint a rosy picture, but I think when we're comfortable with the mess we make, and we can clean up the mess. Right.
That's it.
And so, I have an extended family. Like for the last 11 years, I've been growing and with my daughters, Chloe. I'm talking about Chloe and Katie, my
Yes.
daughters, and Darcy and Kenzie and Riley. Since they
Riley.
was 5. Yeah,
Yes.
Riley since she was 5, and Darcy since she was 9, and now Riley's 16 and Darcy's.
Isn't that amazing? She's already 16.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Amazing.
So we've made some messes. So right, but
Yeah, and learned.
Yeah, and learned, and also it's starting to come around.
Yeah, and the important thing is not how many times you fall, but how quick you stand up.
Yeah.
You know, there's a saying in Portuguese that say, sacode a poeira e dá volta por cima. That means shake it off and continue.
Yes.
You know, it's
Correct.
it's so important
Okay.
for us to know, right?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So we want a story that
Yes,
we can all
please.
identify with. So, and I think our oldest Darcy, we had yeah, you would talk about our oldest Darcy backed into my car in a driveway. Did some damage, right? Right. And so there were emotions to manage in that. And
Well, yeah. What do you do with that?
right,
I done it.
right.
That.
I mean, that. What do you do in that moment? So, you deal.
access, you deal with it. You
Right.
access what's there, and that's it.
And then, so actually, now because through that, I think we have grown
There you go.
to the mess up to that. We're still dealing with the
Yeah.
aftermath of that.
Yeah, and I realize that even in relationships of all types of relationships,
Right.
we're talking. I mean, I've been in all different kinds of businesses.
Yes.
When I came to America, I was a babysitter, and I then got married, and I went to be a concierge. And I was a concierge for many years, and I met a lot of celebrities, a lot of great people. And I became a very good salesperson because Philadelphia, I have a very large network till now. And you met some of my network people. And I became very good in what I was doing, but I couldn't speak very good English. You know, it was interesting because I had English, but it was my way of speaking.
Right.
And so there was so much to learn.
Right.
There were so many mishaps.
Right.
And some of them are not to be said in this video. And you know that I would ask something and I would forget the preposition and that word would be something else.
Correct.
And I had to learn because people would make fun of me,
Right.
but they thought I was cute because I was Brazilian, so I could actually make mistakes.
Right.
And then I keep expanding, and in that work is when I met Nelson Mandela.
Okay.
Wow, that was in 1994.
Okay.
I met Nelson Mandela at Sheraton Society Hill. And it was amazing. It was an experience in itself because he came to receive the Philadelphia medal.
Yeah.
You know,
Yes,
and
I remember that.
I met so many Richard Attenborough. You know, I have met so many directors. You know, you were going to say something.
Well, you said that it's funny how our lives kind of interact and we don't realize it. I met Nelson Mandela's bodyguard, his personal bodyguard, twice now. And it's funny how we talk about our work. And
Isn't it something?
Nelson Mandela's, this is probably the essence of what we're talking about in terms of emotion management. Everybody can be trained. Everybody.
So true.
And I'll tell you, if you met Nelson Mandela's personal bodyguard, you look at there and you're like, wow, yeah, I can see why. But,
It was this big.
Right. But this guy had zero. Here's the story. Nelson Mandela meets this gentleman, and his name's escaping me right now. And he goes, "You're going to be my bodyguard." He goes, "What are you talking about? I'm an IT guy."
Wow.
And this is the way it came about. This came about with training. Training is the and receiving.
Yes.
Nelson Mandela said, "Don't worry about it. You're going to be trained." That was that. He became from an IT person, a technical person, to being his personal bodyguard.
Isn't it something?
Right. And training can be applied to anything. Think about trusting your life.
But see, but here we're talking about miracles.
Yeah.
So remember that we're talking about right now the power of receiving.
Correct.
So what he was available right there, he was able to receive the miracle.
Correct.
Because sometimes a person can be a little bit in their heads and they're going to go, well, but how about this? Or how about that? But not the brakes.
Mhm.
When they put the brakes, they cannot see the opportunity. They cannot see what else is there. Be
Right.
flexible to see the outcome.
So that's everybody. You,
We're talking
everybody's
about
listening.
everyone.
Yeah,
Yes.
me included. Like, who would have thought? Like, I'm gonna take on three more daughters in my
You know,
life.
awesome
Like,
and
like
beautiful.
what the heck? Yeah, right.
Right?
Or just were open to receive that and made
And
mistakes.
that's the way love is. You know, that's look at how beautiful of a family you guys have.
We do.
You know, hello Jane. You know, Dr. Jane probably hearing us now. And this is amazing because my journey. Oh, look at you. He's all moved up because he knows that he spoke the name of his family. He got all warmed up. But it is very important
Right.
because we need to know that love is.
Yeah.
That's the way. There's nothing else out there.
Correct.
You know, I told John, it's just you and me, kiddo.
Right.
You know, it's just him and I. We don't have kids.
Correct.
You are my family. You guys are my family.
Correct.
You know, you guys are our family. So we have to live in love. We have to share love. And I made a decision, Anthony, that from the day that I learned how amazing it is to be abundant, how amazing it is to be able to know.
Right.
I mean, come on, 35 professions, all well done.
Right.
I have done them all. And who knows, maybe some more.
Right.
But see, the point is, it's not who I am to do those. Who am I for real?
Mhm.
Because when I see that I can,
Mhm.
that I'm able to create different things, why not?
Right. Right.
The possibilities.
Mhm.
So now we're going through creating new opportunities, new way, our own way. Because you know, we have a school, emotion management school, which teaches you how to have money, how to be yourself, how to write your own life, how to author everything. Your relationships, your travels, your studies, your everything that connects you with the world.
It's varied as people who are watching.
Correct.
So one way of saying.
And so, yeah.
So you said something. It may sound abstract to people listening, and to bring it, make it more concrete. So love is. You said. So there's the sentimentality that is love, which I think we're kind of all familiar with. But then there is the energy that is. And so for those of you who need the left brain here, did you just breathe? And did you think about breathing? No, you didn't think about it. It just happened. That's love, the completion and from the energy, and that's what we're talking about. What
Yeah.
love is. So if you're a
Some
little
people
skeptical,
can't
if you're a
have
little
that.
skeptical, all you gotta think, all you gotta remind yourself is you breathe and your body's functioning in millions of different ways, and you're not thinking about it. That's love. So the
Yeah.
energy. So we are the energy. That
We are that energy.
correct.
And the fact is that without that, you don't know who you are. You have to feel love, appreciation for this moment, for this breathing moment, for this connection, for this ability of having the ability to create something out of nothing. That is the way, no other way, right?
Right.
It's so amazing.
There's a science to it and there's a spirit to it. And there's a place where the science just bleeds into just spirit. So and we talked about this before, like how do you get in touch with that? I never intended on meditating ever, really, but reading the Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself.
That's
The end of it was to go to meditate.
that's it.
And you were actually, it's written so well. It was breaking it down, leading you to that without telling you.
Without it.
Right.
Yeah, it's and the ability to take life and just embrace it, receive, right?
Correct.
So we're going to now talk about miracle. What is that? Because we call it miracle only because one cannot explain because it just happens. So you didn't do it, right?
Right.
So the how is not of your business. What if all you need to do is to stay on yourself, appreciate this health, the breathing, the way you are? Do you think that you need to worry about anything? You don't, because everything is going to come your way. And we are really examples of that. We talk about this all the time.
Sure.
My students talk about this. That's why we have this channel.
Correct.
So we can have more students talking about. Anthony can talk about what did this emotion management school did in your life, Anthony.
Changed my family dynamic.
The whole thing,
Dramatic.
right? Your thought, your mindset, the way you accept the things, the way you receive things. It's amazing that receiving is so big.
Yeah.
Because the only reason you're not receiving is because you're resisting.
Yeah. Right. So so we think the miracle is the ordinary. Actually, the miracle is always.
Always.
Right now.
This is it.
Right now.
This is the miracle.
Are you seeing it? What are you seeing? And if you're saying I don't see anything, well, maybe that's the way. That's the way.
All you need to do is sit right here.
Silence and stillness, right?
It's so amazing, though. It's so amazing. I find this to be just of talking. It's so beautiful. It warms my heart.
Correct.
So how could someone change their money situation today? Yeah, let's say someone is like, oh my God, look at my credit cards. How can they do that?
They can, well, it starts, there's some simple technology we have, and that's why you contact me, and for free and customized, complimentary. We'll set you up with a 5-minute checkup. We'll ask you there'll be about a 5-minute checkup with a little app called Money Sherlock. And it'll ask you questions. It'll be, like I said, confidential, complimentary. The only thing you may put in is your date of birth. Other than that,
that's it.
And
you are certified money investor.
I'm an investment advisor. If you want to know
the certifications, the labels, go ahead and start, because there's a lot of people. Just talk through the camera and tell them who you are. Anthony Timet, timetmoney.net,
and financial advisor. I'm a Series 65 licensed individual. I have my Series 26. I can open up my own office, which we're doing the process of doing that, and my securities licenses is 6 and 63, and we're teaching and developing people. See that? So there's where how the business ended up here is that we can not only are we teaching, but we also have the opportunity for others to learn.
Yes, and that is the
they want to get the license.
Correct, and that's what I wanted. That's what I wanted to ask you. Would you please talk to our guests and tell them how to be recruited? Because I know you are recruiting.
Yes, could be recruited. If you get on to timetmoney.net. Now I have something on Linktree. Linktree, I think it's Linktree.
It's just Linktree, and you can go on it. Yeah.
If you go to
your Instagram
or my Instagram, my Facebook, or
YouTube,
yeah, just contact me through there. I will send you a link.
So Anthony Timet, and it's called timetmoney.net, and people can actually learn.
Yeah. My YouTube channel is YouTube at Timet Money.
At Timet Money, yes. And you train people, right?
Correct.
How to do what you do.
So I've been teaching for 25 years. So I have and we're a company that was founded by teachers and coaches. It was founded in 1977 by 82 teachers and coaches, and it's grown to it was the second best performing IPO in 2010.
Really?
Everybody knows Tesla, right? Everybody knows that. Well, we started the same month as Tesla. Tesla outperformed us, but other than Tesla,
wow,
we were the second highest performing company. So remember, in 2010, companies were folding and condensing; they weren't expanding. So this company expanded after the 2008 crash. And public.
And that's here we are. Yeah. And so the interesting part also that I observe as a coach, everyone has their own line of work. But as the coach of the base of the basis of a human being, which is emotion management. If you hire someone that doesn't have emotion management, they're not going to perform the job.
Yeah.
If you are married to someone that doesn't have emotion management, you're not going to have a fabulous marriage. Correct. There's a divorce. And if you go into school and you're doing okay, but half of the class don't have emotion management, you're going to have chaos in the class.
Right.
You're going to be bullied. You're going to have a lot of things. And if you are, a sound person, that you are all together, zen, and done your best work,
Right.
when you encounter someone that does not,
Right.
you also need to have yourself at check.
Right.
Because without you knowing,
You fall right into.
you fall right into what is being suggested and you end up losing yourself.
Correct.
So, what I want to ask you is the same thing for money.
Right. Right. Or do you see yourself as abundance? And no matter which way you answer, if you see yourself as abundant, great. Isn't there something always that's kind of in the back of us saying we want a little bit
Correct.
more? And if you don't, can we look and have a conversation about money to see where exactly you are?
Yes.
Like, it's
Yes.
kind of like going to the doctor. I can't, yeah, I can't tell you how healthy you are by talking to you.
That's true.
When we do an F&A, we can actually see. And
Correct.
a lot of times, like it did for you and John,
Yeah.
he saw the abundance when we did.
He was like, he was
an
surprised.
inventory, or
Yes.
we did a little inventory. That's what the financial needs analysis.
And the only thing that I see, I think, with money, okay, because I've been through all the phases of money. Okay. I've been no money, little money, a lot of money.
Correct.
Okay. And a lot of money in various parts of my life. I have a lot of money that I won. Then I told you about that.
Yeah.
That I won in a lottery when I was a kid, was something, not a kid, but 18 years old. I didn't expect. Okay.
Mhm.
And nowadays, when you think of winning the lottery, you think is like trillions.
Mhm.
And, you can win little.
Right.
And knowing how to receive that, that's the important part.
And then how to grow.
And how to grow that.
And
So,
spend some of that.
correct.
How to spend and
Correct. And you need to make decisions. And if you don't have emotional
it's simple
management,
enough.
yeah, but if you don't have
If you-
emotional management, you won't
I
know.
won't get to that.
So, being an 18-year-old kid, had lived on the street with my mother or in people's home because she was employed by them.
Mhm.
The most, I guess, obvious thing would be to buy a house, or the money was not enough for buying a house, but at least do something. I didn't. Do you know what I did? I bought a car.
So that's not.
But you know
that's not
why? Because with the car, I knew where it would take me to make what?
Money.
Thank you. Most people didn't understand my train of thought.
Right. Right.
Because a house cannot take me
Mhm.
to make money.
Correct.
I would live in it.
Right.
But what if I had a car to do more?
Mhm.
I would go to work. I would go to the class, English class. I would go to my art training. I could move around
Mhm.
and find more what? Opportunities and work and money.
Correct.
Expand myself.
Correct.
And that's how at 21, I had a house paid for,
Mhm.
an
Oh,
apartment.
Wow. Great.
Okay.
Yeah.
In Sao Paulo. An apartment was not in the most beautiful area, like I do have one now that is in a very upscale neighborhood.
Mhm.
But back then it was the hood.
Mhm.
And I loved the hood. And I stayed there until I was 25, until before I came here. So the point is that I see you thinking,
Oh yeah, yeah.
this is the way to do it. I mean, nowadays we need to teach our kids how to have money, how to have the flexibility to find out what else can I do? How can I make this little be more? And how can I flex my ability to make money? Because working every day is not the only way to have money.
Yeah.
You have to flex yourself in opportunities.
Right.
And investment,
Mhm.
it's a huge opportunity.
Right. The one thing we didn't talk about is as great as investments are and mutual funds are, people grow faster than mutual
There you go.
funds.
Let's talk about that.
So, the opportunity, it's funny, Fatima talked about how she grew as a person, into money. Well, companies grow the same way. And that's the history of our company, of Prime
And that's
America.
something.
70, think about it, 77 coaches and teachers. 77 people grew to over 100,000, 200,000, 225,000 licensed people in Canada in Puerto Rico.
Wow.
Right. So companies grow like people grow. They grow like children grow.
That's it.
And so when you see how, hey, and it wasn't pretty, and you can talk to we have people, millionaires, that will talk to us. Even if you aren't millionaires, people are going to do an extra $1,000, $2,000 a month. A lot of those people too. So you put yourself in the right environment, open yourself to receiving. There is education out there, and a system that
can help you and grow you, right? See, the point is that that I want to make is that you have to want it,
Mhm,
because see, a lot of people could be with us
mhm.
and could feel this school,
Right.
but we have to constantly be telling people, why do I have to convince you to be abundant?
Right.
Why do I have to convince you to be right?
That's how I came to this, right?
My gosh, it's like why should I convince you to have money?
Mhm.
Why should I convince you to be healthy? Why should I convince you to have good relationship? Why should I convince you to be the author of your own life? It's not my job, it's your job.
Well,
If you want to, come with us. Come do the work. It's not difficult. It's just expansion of the mind. If the mind expands, whatever you can think, you can make it happen.
now, how do we say this in like terms that people don't think it's too
They don't think it's
abstract?
abstract.
Okay, well, you know what? 80% of
You
it
can
is.
do it.
Wait,
Yeah.
we were just talking to her friend.
Yep.
That she's 103 years old. She's a doctor.
Dr. Glad's McGarry.
Yeah, and
103 in November.
right. And she was a doctor. She became a doctor in 1973. Right now,
Because she couldn't before.
right.
She
right,
couldn't before because she was already practicing.
Right. Right.
But there was a lot of limits for women, and did that.
Then, right.
Her parents were doctors in India,
Mhm,
and they were already practicing.
correct.
And she's an incredible woman. I admire her so much
Mhm.
because you see what she says, right?
Right. Well, that's what we're talking about. It all connects. It's 80. Medicine only goes about 20%. It's
Mhm.
really 80%. You who are listening, you are your own investment advisor.
Uh-huh.
This work that we're talking about allows you to be whatever investment advisor you want to be, a doctor you want to be,
Give
a
a
healer
full-
of your own body,
Uh-huh.
which is what this woman who's 103 years old talks about. That all we are is the facilitator
That's it.
to allow you to be to heal yourself.
That's it.
Now there is the Philadelphia School of Osteopathic Medicine.
Yeah. There's a lot of great doctors that are my friends. Yes.
So, but she was at the forefront of this before it became popular. So my point is, it's not just that way in medicine. That's this way with money. This way, you as being a parent or whatever it is you choose to be, or every multiple things you choose to be.
Correct.
80% of it's you. Do you put yourself in a position to receive? The facilitator.
Thank you. That's it. Receiving is the key. See, the point was that when I was training myself to all those little things that I do, right behind me, there's some autographs of many famous people, celebrities, and kids, and studies, opera students, and so many things that I have done. And I never studied for. I just embraced it and received the opportunity, and I just went. In 1995, when John said, by the way, you injured, I had a car accident. He says, would you mind helping me at the opera? And they were doing magic flute. And I had no clue about opera. All I knew was that he would sing. We had been married for 4 years.
Mm.
We knew each other for 5. And I'm like, okay, I'm game. And wouldn't you know, I learned right then and then. And I became a fantastic, experienced and specialist in costume designing because I had already known how to sew. I am a tailor, and all I needed to do is to study opera. And how do you study opera? By doing it.
Hang around that crowd.
Right? And so I have a friend of mine, Connie Culp. She's directing an opera. show is coming up with the Delaware Valley Opera.
Right.
So if you wanted to see an opera, it's coming up now in July. And Delaware Valley Opera Company needs support, needs help, needs volunteer. And they put out a fantastic show. I think 3 or 4 shows per summer.
Okay.
And I think it's performed right here in Manioc,
Oh, really?
right? So point is, isn't that receiving opportunities?
Well, yeah, that's everybody out there has doing it
Some
in
kind of,
some way, in all kind of different ways.
we are collaborating and seeding at the same time.
Correct.
So meaning that when I give,
Right.
I receive.
Right.
So when I give, I receive. So we all in this amazing circle of life,
Correct.
right?
Right.
And so today we wanted to make you aware that you too can be the author of your own life.
Correct.
You too can change.
Right.
All you need to do is change who you had been.
Right.
If you have been the way you don't want to,
Mhm.
simple, change it, right?
Mhm.
I mean, there's so many things that we didn't like, right?
Yeah,
So do you remember? I'm gonna go. So we're gonna play the game. What didn't you like? What you did? So I'll go first. So one thing I didn't like is I always served. I served a lot, and I still do. I love serving, but I serve everyone, no matter who. And I'm always giving. And for so many years, that I am like that. There's no time, there's no place, there's no what, there's no who. I'm always serving.
Mhm.
But the problem, before, we're talking about 15 years ago, I didn't like that I would serve someone and they would not give a SHIT.
Right.
How can I serve you and you don't at least give me a thank you?
Mhm.
And that bothered me so much. Boy, did that do a number on my stomach. I had to learn. I had to learn to serve no matter what without expecting anything back. That is love. I had to learn. So, your turn now. What?
You don't want to look at it.
Don't go that deep. Don't go that deep.
All right, so
Something simple.
something simple. Well, what brought me to emotion management work? Well, without bragging, I've spent a lot of time around people and I've learned the best you can learn about money.
Uh-huh.
Why wasn't it working? Well,
Correct.
it's because somewhere inside me, wherever it doesn't matter, I wasn't enough. So somebody just asked me a simple question, like they just need a spoonful of maybe dirt,
Uh-huh.
for example. Well, I give them like a dump truck full, and I overpower them with the knowledge, and that doesn't
because
work
you
either.
wanted because you
Yeah.
wanted to show
Yeah.
them that you had that.
Somehow I wasn't. I saw myself that I wasn't enough. Doesn't make any
Got it.
sense, but that's what.
And
That's
then
what
you
it
worked
was.
it out. I
And you
remember
worked it
that.
out, and that's why.
Yeah,
it was
and
very-
so we all have paradigms that we through life have developed, had picked up, had learned, and we have developed this I, which is not the I that you should be paying attention to. This is another one,
Based on
another one
past
based on all stories,
memories.
memories, and you just overpowered by that, which tells you what to do, which puts some, let's say, stories in your head, and you're believing instead, making yourself free to go anywhere, do anything, be with anybody, and be abundant, be grateful, be happy, because happiness is part of that.
Correct.
The only reason you are not happy, it's possibly because you don't know yourself.
Right.
Your best company is not you. You're not happy
Right.
because you complain about the other person who's not being nice to you. Well, are you being nice to yourself?
Right.
I love being with myself. I think I'm a great
But that
friend to
wasn't always
myself.
the case.
No, it's not that.
Yeah.
Yeah, because all through my life, I want to be with people.
Correct.
I'm an extrovert, so I want to be with other people.
Mhm.
I want to be accepted because I was a child of the streets. So I always had to serve so the other person would be, oh, how nice you are. And that became a habit.
Right.
So everywhere I went, I want someone to say, how nice are you?
Right.
And two, I learned that, oh boy, I need to be nice to myself. I need to be me. I need to be me first. I need to love me first. Be
Right.
enough to me first. Then whatever I have here, then I can give it to you. Then I can give it to you.
Right.
Right?
Correct.
This is
Well,
amazing.
yeah.
This is amazing. It's and so what are we going to tell these people about money? We're going to tell them that they're going to see the miracle if they see that they are the miracle.
Right. Right.
If
Yeah,
they
I'm
see
just 20% of that.
correct.
Facilitator of some of knowledge that you put it to work. But that's
That's
why
it.
it's a conversation. So really, all look, you asked the question, what can people do
Yeah.
to recognize their financial health? Is to ask to have a conversation.
Ask
If
questions.
you're willing to ask, have
Yeah.
a conversation, then you and that works also with people like no matter where you are in your financial stage of your life.
That's it. In anywhere. It doesn't matter if you have
if you have like you're earning 30,000 a year or you're earning 100,000 or 200,000, if you're spending more
and if
than
you are
you
2,000
right,
a
if you're
year.
spending more than what's coming in,
Correct.
and there are people that are earning like 300,000-400,000 and are spending 350. So
Correct.
it's so don't look at the numbers don't really matter. It's all walks of life. You're not
Correct.
we're all this.
Thank you for that. So we're going to wrap it up. And I'm going to say to you that you too can create amazing things in your life. I have been this journey for many years, empowering and inspiring people. I have a radio show on WWDB AM on Wednesdays at 10:30 a.m. on 860 a.m. And I talk about this. I interview people from all backgrounds. And they all say the most important thing is to be here. And I want to ask you, have you found yourself there? Have you looked you in the eye and feel yourself inside so you can see how prosperous you already are? And whatever you have to look as big because it's yours. Why would you choose not to say that that which you have is the best thing there was ever in this world? So I wish you all the best. Please subscribe. Please like us on our social media and also click the little bell for notifications because when we are live and when we post, then you know.
Correct.
So please check, timetmoney.net
Correct.
and
Like post my Linktree account. We can
yes,
connect
and
on WhatsApp. Right?
yes, and please let's have a conversation. It's all about the conversation. It's all about love. This is not about who has less, who has more, who is giving, who is not giving. This is about the now. I wanted to leave this message to you and say good night. Have a fabulous light and fabulous life in light.
Great. Thank you.